The year was 1968. I, Li Chungza, had been sent to a freezing remote village in northeast China as an educated youth. On a bitterly cold night where the chill could literally freeze your blood, there was a sudden knock on my door. The moment I opened it, the village's absolute knockout, Li Jianhua, dropped to her knees right at my feet. She was the only college-educated girl around, but right now, her eyes were filled with nothing but pure terror and tears. Grabbing my legs, she begged, "Chungza, have a heart. Just get me pregnant. I'll stick by you through thick and thin." My brain just short-circuited. She was in such a state I couldn't even push her away. Crying, she explained that her husband was a blackout drunk who got paralyzed in a hunting accident on their wedding night. Now, he was on death's door. The second he died, her ruthless in-laws would kick her out into the freezing wilderness to be eaten alive by wild animals. Being a childless widow in this era was basically a death sentence. But this was 1968. If we got caught, we'd be drowned in a pond. I hesitated. Seeing my fear, she went all in, desperately offering everything, even her beautiful younger sister Qian and a local Russian widow. Right then, a cold electronic voice echoed in my head. Soul compatibility 99.8%. Hunting space system now online. Activate! My 18-year wait was over. I finally had a magical cheat code. Still, sleeping with her was way too risky. When I stayed silent, the last spark of hope in her eyes died. Throwing away all her dignity, she lunged at me. When I woke up the next morning, she was gone, but on the Kong, heated bed, my thickest mattress was slashed right down the middle. It was her move. She cut the mattress to show the world, tying her fate to mine forever. I wasn't mad. I just felt pity for how desperate she had been pushed. The night before, I had hunted 11 chickens in my level 1 hunting space using just an axe. I made a plan, hit the black market, sell the chickens, and buy a gun to protect myself. That evening, Jianhua brought her shy younger sister Qian over to my place. I cooked up the chicken from my hunting space for them. Before leaving, I pulled out my level 1 boss reward from the system, a rare phoenix tail bow with 20 golden red arrows. This was a super rare weapon with 100% headshot accuracy, strong enough to pierce right through a bear or a tiger. As night fell, I wrapped my face in a black cloth and headed out. Braving a brutal minus 30 degrees Celsius blizzard, I crossed the snowy mountains to reach the terrifying black market hidden deep in the woods by the Usiri River. This place didn't run on rules. It ran on guns and knives. Right outside the market, I slipped into my hunting space, slaughtered 10 chickens and 20 ducks, and prepped dozens of eggs. The guard stopped me at the entrance. I handed over a 20-cent management fee, and they gave me the survival rules. If the heat shows up, run south. Do not run toward the Wanda Mountains, or the wolves and bears will eat you alive. I went in and sold all my poultry and eggs to a dealer. In exchange, I got $100 cash and a massive stack of cloth and cotton coupons to send back to my family in the capital. In the darkest corner of the market, I spotted some Russian smugglers with a stash of firepower. For 60 bucks, I bought a lethal double-barrel shotgun and 200 rounds of ammo. The dealer warned me dead serious. Don't shoot a human within 100 meters with this. Under 50 meters, it'll blow a wild boar into a red mist. When I got back home, I gave Jianhua a ton of cotton cloth and coupons to make clothes. Her eyes welled up with gratitude. That night, she washed my frozen feet with warm water, and an unspoken deep bond formed between us. The very next morning, I jumped straight into level 2 of the hunting space. It was a massive, snowy wasteland packed with hundreds of fierce white geese, led by a massive 3-foot-tall giant goose boss. The second I stepped in, the boss launched a lethal attack. I didn't flinch. With one massive swing of my axe, I chopped its head clean off. I looted a ton of goose eggs and premium goose down quilts. Then, I stepped right into level 3, where I faced off against a terrifying 5-foot-tall giant duck boss. I took it down and scored over 400 eggs and heavy down jackets. When I got out, the village's veteran hunter, Donkey, invited me up the mountain with his crew, Iron Egg, Dummy, and Rock. Because I was a city kid, they definitely underestimated me. But on the trail, when a wild pheasant flew up and their guns totally missed, I just scooped up a frozen dirt clod from under the snow and hurled it with everything I had. Boom! A brutal headshot. The bird dropped dead on the spot. My insane accuracy left the entire village crew completely speechless. A little further in, we spotted a roe deer. The guys didn't even use their guns. They surrounded it with spears. In one lightning-fast move, Donkey drove his spear straight into the deer's neck. It was a brutal but absolute masterclass in real mountain survival. On our way back from the hunt, we stumbled across a natural hot spring. Even in the dead of winter, green grass was sprouting around it. A master plan instantly hit me. If we built a greenhouse right here, we could grow fresh vegetables during these brutal winters when the whole village survives on nothing but dried scraps. We could take over the entire commune. That night, we cooked up an epic meat feast at my place. Manhwa and the other girls came over to help. We passed around the Baiju liquor, and I totally won over the whole crew. After everyone left, I waited until midnight and entered level 4 of the hunting space. Level 4 didn't have animals. It was just a monstrous 100-meter tall ancient tree boss. I hacked at it with my axe, but it didn't leave a single scratch. After sweating for hours, I realized axes were totally useless. To make it worse, the system told me the tree healed 10% every single night, but I wasn't backing down. I brought in dry firewood and matches from the outside world and set the ancient tree's roots completely on fire. The flames shot up into the sky and the tree started burning. As the progress bar filled up, the system dropped a heavy wagon wheel battle axe in my hands. A few hours later, that 100-meter giant came crashing down in a massive fiery explosion. The system alerts went crazy. Ultimate reward. All body attributes raised to the human ceiling. 100 points. Skill acquired. Baji Quan martial arts mastery. My body surged with boulder-shattering strength and decades of martial arts training locked into my brain. Plus, I got a magical antique teapot that poured endless, perfectly warm tea. That same night, Donkey and the boys showed up banging on my door. They were dragging me to the Ussuri River for ice fishing. We hit the completely frozen river, chipped holes in the thick ice, and set up a windbreak tent. I brought the leftover chicken, and we cooked an unbelievable stew right there on the ice. In the dead of night, after a brutal tug of war, Donkey and Dummy dragged a massive 30 to 40 pound grass carp right out of the freezing water. My jaw dropped. We ate like kings and kept watch all night. Sitting in the quiet, snowy night, sipping hot tea from my magical teapot, my greenhouse master plan was fully locked in. The next morning, I brought in the village's most experienced elder, Old Man Shao, to help map out the greenhouse. He picked the perfect spot based on the wind and sun, but the biggest roadblock was glass. Without glass, the greenhouse couldn't soak up the winter sun. Before dawn, I headed back to the sketchy black market alley. A shady dealer tried to scam me by hiding cracked broken glass underneath a few good panes. A regular guy would have gotten played, but I grew up on the streets of the capital. I called his bluff and completely outplayed him, buying the entire stash for just 2 strips of cured meat. To everyone else, it was broken junk, but to me, even that cracked glass was the ultimate weapon to grow life in this frozen wasteland. I loaded the glass into my arms and trekked back home through the heavy snow. I knew right then the coming spring was going to change absolutely everything for me in this village.